History never repeats perfectly, yet its rhythm never changes. Every few centuries, a great power rises, confident, rich, invincible, and every time it begins the same slow march toward decay. The faces change, the languages change, but the pattern stays constant, like an ancient code written into human ambition itself. Empires are not destroyed in battle. They collapse from within, from arrogance, complacency, and the weight of their own success. It begins quietly. A new power emerges from struggle. Its people are united by hardship, driven by purpose, and guided by the belief that they are different from those who fell before. They build armies, industries, and dreams. They write their own destiny. And for a while, it works. Prosperity grows. Influence spreads. Generations live and die, believing their world will never end. But then, something invisible begins to shift. Wealth becomes comfort. Comfort breeds pride. Pride blinds judgment. And that's when the pattern, the same one that's ended every superpower, begins to repeat. There are 7 stages, 7 steps from dominance to dust. Stage 1, military overreach. At the height of every empire lies a hunger for more. More land, more trade, more control. Rome stretched from the deserts of Africa to the forests of Britain. Spain claimed the oceans. Britain ruled from the Caribbean to India. The Soviet Union built its empire through tanks and ideology. The logic is always the same. Expansion equals safety. But the more they expand, the more they bleed. Armies must be fed, borders must be defended, and the treasury begins to tremble under the cost of glory. By the time the people realize it, wars are no longer about protection, they're about pride. Stage 2, currency debasement. Once the treasury cracks, the mint takes over. Rome's silver coins grow lighter. Spain floods Europe with New World silver, turning wealth into inflation. Britain abandons gold to pay for global wars. The Soviets print faith instead of value, and their shelves turn empty. When money loses its meaning, so does stability. The state begins to lie, not through words, but through its currency. Stage 3, the debt spiral. To hide the weakness, debt becomes the new weapon. Borrowed wealth replaces earned wealth. Governments promise prosperity they can't afford. Politicians learn to buy loyalty with credit. The numbers look fine for a generation, until interest devours the system. An empire that once built roads and armies now builds paperwork and excuses. Stage 4, loss of productive capacity. The heart of the empire, its real industry, its innovation, begins to fade. Why work when you can consume? Why build when you can import? Factories grow silent. The best minds leave. Farmers sell their land. The empire becomes a marketplace for others' products. And soon the pride of self-reliance turns into dependency. Spain stopped making, Britain outsourced, the Soviets stagnated. The story never changes. Stage 5, social decay. When economies fracture, societies follow. Unity becomes noise. Rich and poor turn into strangers living in the same country. Citizens no longer believe in their leaders or in each other. Corruption grows, disguised as politics. The media becomes a mirror of anger. Entertainment replaces achievement. People argue about everything except what matters. An empire's final act is not defeat, it's division. Stage 6, loss of reserve currency status. Power is trust, and the world's trust shifts quietly. Spain's silver lost value, Britain's pound lost dominance. The Soviets never had either. For centuries, the United States dollar has been the symbol of global stability, a currency backed by strength and reputation. But history shows that reserve currencies never last forever. When trade begins to bypass the empire's coin, when other nations find new systems, when alliances weaken, the world's confidence migrates elsewhere. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens one deal at a time, one crisis at a time, until the empire's currency is no longer a pillar, but a memory. Stage 7. Collapse. Collapse doesn't arrive with explosions or invasions. It begins in silence. The empire still stands, its buildings still rise, its flags still wave, but the spirit that built them is gone. The people grow tired, the institutions hollow out, and slowly what was once eternal becomes a story told in textbooks. Spain ruled the world through gold and then drowned in it. Britain controlled the seas and then lost the world it built. The Soviet Union terrified the planet and then evaporated in less than 3 years. 3 empires, 3 centuries, 1 pattern. And now the pattern has reached its newest chapter, the United States. A nation born from rebellion, forged in industry, and elevated by belief. For a century, it has been the centre of gravity. Its military unmatched, its culture exported, its currency trusted. But beneath the strength, the rhythm of history echoes again. America's reach spans the globe. Its troops are stationed in more than 70 countries. Its military budget surpasses the next 10 nations combined. Its dollar dominates trade and finance. And yet the warning signs are clear. Wars fought with unclear purpose, debt spiralling beyond imagination, a generation drowning in loans, a middle class shrinking under the weight of prices. Factories moved overseas while cities crumble at home, politics reduced to chaos, ideology over logic, division over unity. The pattern says the US has crossed stage 5, the era of internal decay, and is moving toward stage 6, where global trust begins to erode. The dollar still stands, but the foundations tremble. Nations are forming new trade networks. Energy is priced in new currencies. Confidence, the invisible backbone of empire, is beginning to shift. This isn't prediction, it's repetition. Every empire before said it couldn't happen to them. Every one of them was wrong. But collapse isn't fate. It's warning. Empires fall because they forget what made them strong. Discipline, unity, humility. When those vanish, no army, currency, or speech can save them. The United States still has time. Time to remember that real power is built, not borrowed. That strength isn't measured in weapons, but in will. That the collapse of others doesn't have to be the destiny of all. Yet history's patience is limited. Every generation thinks it's different, immune to the cycle, until it's not. And when the pattern completes, it leaves behind ruins, lessons, and a single question for those who come next. Will they recognise the warning before it's too late? Empires rise in confidence and die in comfort. The pattern never changes, only the names do.